Metal for Life, everybody. My name's Justin Smulison. You might know me from Rock on the Rise. We're big fans of Becoming, and our friend Jason Hardouin, he's the creative force behind Becoming. We love him. And we're here today to talk all about what's happening in the Becoming camp. We've got coming up a follow-up to Sonic Revelations and In the Name of God. It's going to be called Consciousness Revolution. Jason and I are going to talk all about it on video just for you. We're going to have a lot of fun, talk about what's going on as far as musical production, when we might actually see some shows, and just hear some of his musical philosophies and his life philosophies, which, as you might know, come out, especially on this album, In the Name of God. To the now, to all becoming. So, stick around and be sure to visit MetalForLife.org for more information. All right. Well, everybody out there, my name is Justin Smulison. I am the contributor to Rock on the Rise, hashtag ROTR Army, and we are joined by my good friend Jason Hardouin of Becoming. Jason, how are you?
What's happening? I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Justin. How you doing, man?
I'm great. I'm always happy to see you. We were talking before we were rolling. I love my Becoming shirt. I wear it with
I'm so
pride.
glad. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, I feel like they came out like really good quality.
They
You
did.
know, it was because it's a challenge to find, a good provider,
Right.
that's going to be consistent, and then, in terms of like, okay, print on demand versus going to a shop versus doing it yourself. There's so many providers out there. You just want someone like, okay, if someone buys the shirt, like, is it going to arrive? Is it going to be good quality? Are they going to think, oh,
Right.
this shirt sucks? Or are they
Right.
going to think, oh, I love this shirt? And so I'm
No,
glad to see that we achieved the goal.
yes, it's beautiful, and it's got lovely texture. And I got to tell you, you want to know, and I mean this as a compliment, because of my other professional job, my other profession, I go to a lot of insurance expos and things like that. And some of the swag are shirts, and you can tell the
Yeah.
difference between a good shirt and a bad shirt. This is, if I didn't know any better, I would think I'm at an insurance expo shirt. You know what I mean? Like that
Well,
that that quality. That's what I mean.
the, the cost of goods on that one is a little higher. So like I used to think, oh, cotton shirts, the Hanes beefy tee, and then those just shrink, shrink, shrink. So
Right.
my thing is I like the tri blends
Yeah.
because they don't shrink, they fit nice, they're soft,
Yeah.
and the
So
printing on that is sublimation printing too. So it fits in anyway. It just comes out for a better product. And
no, it's
nowadays
great.
you don't make any money on music,
Right.
so you make merch, you still don't make a ton of money. I mean, unless you're like Aerosmith or somebody.
Right.
Taylor Swift. If you're
If you're
Taylor
Taylor
Swift, you're
Swift or
killing it.
Metallica, you're gonna make some bucks.
The
So
original merch people Kiss. You
right.
got Kiss everything.
Sure. So let me ask you. So what's going on with one of our favorite bands here at Rock on the Rise, which is Becoming? What's going on? It's your band, it's your baby. What can we expect in 2024?
Well, I'm just about to start, you can see, doing vocal tracks. The
Oh,
album, all the writing was done, like maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago.
okay.
But there was some things, health wise. I had like three major surgeries in like 3 years. It
Oh
sucked,
yeah.
but grateful to be alive. I'm fine. And working, we, like most of us, have a day job. Real musicians have day jobs.
Yes.
you know and so the the process started after In the Name of God almost right away, because we released In the Name of God in June of 2020. And then that was right when COVID hit. So couldn't go play shows, couldn't do
Yeah.
anything. So I was like, I was still in that mode, of feeling very creative, and just started pumping out the next batch of songs for this album. And then there was this moment where it was like, I was kind of letting go of a lot of old friendships. Like they
Mhm.
say that sometimes people are in your life at a certain chapter and they don't go on to the next one. And
Right.
so I did away with just about, everybody who I worked with, except for my guitar player, Amir, who's still with me today. And, there was a moment where I was like, well, what am I going to do? It's like, yeah, I could do everything myself, but I felt like I could have better than I can do, right? That's where you have to step outside your own ego a little bit.
Sure.
And I connected with Stix Zadinia, And I was like, hey man, I got this project, I got these songs, maybe we could you do some drum tracks. And he's like, let's go. Send me the track, and then he comes back with, I'm gonna murder it, bro. He's
Okay.
like, let's rock. So I was like, wow, he's excited about it. And so he started doing, some drum tracks. I had a gentleman named Mike Terrana do a drum track on this instrumental song. Mike worked with Yngwie, Tony McAlpine, the lady from Nightwish,
Right.
and you see him all over all over the Instagram. He's like this little dude with like a big mohawk, and it's like totally gray. And he's like sitting out in the ocean with his drum kit, and he's like, "I won't stop the music," and it's fun to work with. So he
But
did this
that's the
instrument.
kind of that's the kind of musician that philosophically I think you align with really well, obviously.
Oh, 100%, 100%. In fact, everybody that participated in this, I feel like there was a little bit of divine inspiration. Like they say your vibe attracts your tribe,
I
and
like that. Yeah.
yeah, it's real, and so, I had gotten tired, like I said, of working with folks that were just either I'm waiting for them or I'm being let down by them in some way, right? You can't
Right.
manage your own life. How am I going to trust you with my business, right?
Right. Right.
And so, there was that moment, but then all of a sudden it just started going and going. I did some songs with Stix. I did a song with Mike Terrana, and then I connected with Jason Bittner, who,
Oh,
I mean, Jason Bittner, I love that guy.
let's
Yeah.
talk
And
about
yeah,
let's fill everybody in before we get to Bittner. Just real quick, Stix Zadinia is from which band?
Steel Panther.
Okay, good. So now that we're caught up with him, Jason Bittner is a current icon. He played with Flotsam and Jetsam. He played with Shadows Fall. He's still sort of with them, but he's known now as the drummer for.
Overkill.
He's dynamite. He's
And he
dynamite.
does all those Bubba Bash, all the Rush stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
like he's just amazing. So and he's got a new project that's coming out in June with Phil Demmel on guitar, Jack Gibson on bass, and freaking John Bush on vocals, dude. Like, I was like, wow, that's pretty epic. If you could pick a lineup, you
Yeah.
just picked one, right?
And
And
we're not
so
letting the cat out of the bag here. That was announced
that's
on
already public
Blabbermouth.
knowledge. Yeah.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
but that's like my dream group right there. Well, anything with John Bush is my dream group because
Yeah.
as you know, he's my favorite singer. I know he's one of yours as
He's
well.
one of mine. Yeah.
Oh,
Him and the dude from Savatage, the second guy, Zach something or other. I love that dude's
Zach
voice too.
Stevens. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, you know, you
I know
know.
him. Look at that. This is not
Hey, bro,
rehearsed,
we
my
got to
friend.
go on like one of those music trivia shows
Oh,
together.
totally.
We'd totally kill it.
We'd rock it
Um,
out. 80s and
yeah.
90s
So,
metal. Yeah, and then everything else we would not do too well.
yeah. So, working with Jason Bittner was just really cool, talking to him and just like, kind of hearing his stories and like, just sending him the song and then him getting hyped about it and saying, all right, here's two different versions that I did on drums. You pick which one you like better. I'm like, okay, thank
Wow.
you, Mr.
And
Bittner, sir.
how long did it take Bittner to turn that around to you?
Dude, sometimes, well, because everybody's really busy. Think about
Yeah.
it, right? Bittner, he's going, hey man, I'm leaving for a tour in Europe on Friday. So, get me the song by, Tuesday and, I'll see if I can get it done. Some songs he turned around in like 48 hours,
Wow.
others it was like a week or so because he was on the road or doing
Right.
something. And,
But
but I
still,
just
that's
love,
really good. Even if he was just a week, even if it was just a week, you're getting it
yeah, not,
from
not all drummers are that on their shit, dude.
right. No, he's one of those, he really is one of those top tier drummers. If you follow his career, he's all of his groups have been good, but they've gotten progressively better. He's at what many believe to be the pinnacle of metal right now. The unsung heroes of metal are Overkill in many circles. So
Yeah,
you're getting a really high level player to contribute. And I think
100%.
that's really special.
Yeah, like at first I was like, okay, when he said yes, I was like, okay, I'm gonna send him the song, but man, what if he thinks it sucks? Like I
Right.
was like, I'm making sure everything was, I'm like redoing guitar tracks to get rid of the buzz or this, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is it, let's go, man. So,
Yeah.
really tightening up on my side before, presenting the song to someone, and they all had the opt-out clause, like if they didn't like it, they didn't have to do it.
Right, right, right.
But through working with Jason, it was just like, wow, okay, half the album is Jason Bittner on drums, half the album is Stix Zadinia on drums, and then I got like a couple songs where it's like a good friend of mine named Jesse, who, he'd be the live guy these days.
Right.
So as I was going through this process, Jason Bittner actually connected me with Jon Donais over at Anthrax, right? So all the drums
Yeah.
are done, and I was like, hey, he's like, what's next? I'm like, man, I got this wish list of people I would love to have do guest solos, because I'm going all the way with this album, Consciousness Revolution, right? And it's not the typical album by any stretch. There's like some bigger goals we'll come back to when we talk about Metal for Life Global. But I connected with Jon Donais, Anthrax, Shadows Fall guitar player, and he's got another band called Living Wreckage, which is really, really good.
I know them. Yeah.
And yeah, and so he did a solo, and then I connected with Cesar Soto, who is in ministry. He has a new band called Man the Mute. That's his band, and he used to be in Pissing Razors many years ago. And yeah, right. And
Stix Zadinia and Pissing Razors making it into the interview here, folks.
well, it's funny because throughout the songs, like, okay, this song has Cesar Soto and Jason Bittner. This song has Cesar Soto and Stix Zadinia. So there's like some variation of it, right?
Yeah.
And so Cesar Soto, I love working with this guy because man, he is just on it. He's totally friendly. He's totally cool. He's totally down to earth. And I feel like he's kind of like this like spiritual hippie too at some level, right? And so it just like all these folks and sort of like where they're coming from in their life is I feel like it was, like I said, divine connection or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I connected with Doc Coyle from Bad Wolves, God Forbid, and he's got he's doing a lot of things. He just went on tour with Ice Nine Kills, opening for Metallica.
Wow.
And I started talking to Doc, and he's like, "Yeah, man, send me the song." I was like, "Oh, really? Okay, cool." Sent him the song, and then probably a week later he sends it back, and then when I listened to it, his solo, I was like, I couldn't stop smiling, dude. Like my face, I felt like this little kid having this total like, oh my god, and type moments, and that's been happening all throughout this process. So that's my meter on how's this going, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to rush it and what have you. But then I connected also with James Murphy, who I had known many years ago when my previous band recorded our EP at his house, and when he lived in California and he was in Testament. But just stayed in touch over the years, and I was like, well, shit, you know what? Why don't, if I'm just shooting the moon here, I'm gonna go for it. So I reached out to James, and he's like, yep, dude, I got you. And I was like, cool. So James was in Testament, Death, Disincarnate, Obituary, like so many bands.
That's
He's like
another
this
high
little
level player right there that you're adding to the
and
roster.
he's like I call him heavy metal Gandalf because he's
Yeah.
all gray hair now and shit, but he shreds. Oh my God. And James had a crazy story about his thing. He survived brain cancer and all this type of stuff. So just working with folks, and they just get it, right? And then and all of a sudden I connected with Phil Demmel.
Oh, well, he's everywhere. That guy's omnipresent.
Oh, for real. So I connected with him, and I was like, I tell him about this project, the Consciousness Revolution album, and the Metal for Life Global entity that I created, which is basically like an artist management marketing type entity, but also does like charitable social cause, things, right? So like music in elementary schools or things like that, right? Just giving back to music. And so I talked to Phil, and I shared with him like the concept of this song, and he's like, send it over. I was like, okay.
Wow.
And less than 24 hours later, I had an email with the song and all the files from Phil Demmel, and I plugged it in. Again, I couldn't stop smiling. I was like, oh my God, holy shit, did this just happen? Phil Demmel did a freaking like. And then like, what is it? He just announced like this week, oh, he's leaving Violence. It's run its course, and he's now in Kerry King's band, dude, with like unbelievable. That's a whole another thing. But like, if you're Phil Demmel, you're like, okay, I've got this band that I'm dropping an album with Jason Bittner and John Bush in June. And oh, by the way, in March or May, whenever it is, I'm on the new Kerry King album.
Right.
With the singer of Overkill, not Overkill, I'm sorry, Death Angel, apologies.
Yeah. Asageda.
Mark is an amazing singer, right? Like these are, so those are my two albums besides mine that I really want to hear this year,
Right.
So as far as when Consciousness Revolution will be ready, I'm guessing maybe Q3. It just really depends on how far I get with everything else going on in life, because like you, we got to get up. We're sneaking. We're basically sneaking this interview in during our work day. So, yeah. But yeah, so I think that Consciousness Revolution is going to pick up where the last album left off, but it's like times 10 on the production, the songwriting, even the lyrical concepts and content that I'm using, because the world, and I say this often, the world doesn't need just another negative heavy metal album
No,
filled with,
yeah, I know.
skulls and crossbones and fire and hell, and
Yeah,
there's a place for that, and that's fine. But I liked it when all the other bands did it,
yeah,
originally. I'm kind of like that, like with the genres, a band will rise to this level and they're like the one I'll listen to from that genre, like Hatebreed. They're probably one of the main hardcore bands that I dig, and
right.
then Iron Maiden or Queensryche or Dream Theater in the progressive area, and so on. But really the consciousness revolution is about like raising the vibrations across the nations.
Okay.
Some raising
And
vibrations across the nations, right?
it's an
Because
invitation across the nation. There you go.
I might have to work that in, get a co-authorship, Justin. You know, but really just destroying false beliefs, right?
Okay.
Because there's so much stuff out in the world and people are confused and they're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You don't know what to believe, you don't know what's real. And at the same time, with all that's going on, you're like, okay, I got to stay healthy, I got to stay alive, I got to take
Right.
care of my family. And so I feel like this album is going to really resonate with people, because everybody's experiencing all of this stuff. And
Oh, I would agree. Yeah.
the goal is, hey, if we can all raise our vibration a little bit and, affect people in a positive way, like don't hate, congratulate,
Right.
you know what I mean? So it just putting out good into the universe and in the hopes that, it'll spread and,
Right.
affect others and make the world a better place. I know it sounds maybe a little hippie-ish, but
No, but that's you. That's your vibe. And one of the things I've always dug about you is that you've always had this kind of not maybe hippie-ish, but more like schoolhouse rock soul. And then you've thrown it into music that's very aggressive, but ultimately can be very positive.
yeah. I
I
mean,
hope you'll take that as a compliment.
it is a total compliment. I got, so one of the things that like, our Facebook page is over 260,000 followers.
Yeah.
Instagram's over 100, like 126,000,
That's big
and
for a band that does not have, 4 full-time members and all that kind of stuff, right? That's
right. Yeah.
huge.
Not touring, not, just, I'm a recording artist doing what I love to do. And, all the other stuff will come later, but managing this thing that is alive, has a life of its own, is no small task. So,
Well, let's
I
talk about
created,
that. What does it take to build a brand today?
man, it's time, sweat
Yeah,
equity, being clear about, what your vision is, right? And then, surrounding yourself with people who get it and contribute at a positive level too.
right.
So, I always knew what my brand was, right? It's this kind of like uplifting, heavy metal, more positive, and it went through some evolutions over the years, but the core, values have always been the same. Like let's give back to heavy metal what it
Yeah,
gave to me, right? When I had a tough
yeah.
time in life growing up, boom, throw on Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry, or Quiet Riot, Mental Health, or whatever it was growing up. And so I am grateful for music for my whole life. It's like a spiritual experience. It's a therapeutic experience. And I think most people, it's a great connector too, right? How many friends did you meet along the way where you're like, oh, I love that band too? Or maybe you guys both hated a band
Right,
together,
right.
whatever. Right. And so it's just very nice for that purpose.
You can bond
Without
with
like
somebody over music much easier than you can, I think, most any other medium, because it's something you have to go and kind of like stand up and
experience.
experience.
Yep.
I mean, you can go to a Broadway show with somebody and sit next to them and, oh, okay, that's good. And, it's a different rush though. And you can't really do it. Maybe you could do it with a movie if you're at a film festival or something. You could
Yeah.
do it, but there's nothing like being front row next to somebody you do not know and you're both rocking out. And after that, you just go, hey, you
Yeah.
want to go get a drink? And then
Yeah.
that's your new buddy for a week, a month, a year,
Yeah, or you're like,
however.
hey, let's go smoke, you
You could
guys
do that
step
too.
outside the club, all of that. It's the great uniter, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And so again, Consciousness Revolution, it's so far for me, it's been like this amazing journey. I fell in love with making music all over again like I was a little kid, and I just keep
Right.
having these wow moments. And I'm just going to keep grinding, so building the brand is just, there's one part of that, if you think about marketing in general, like, are you paying for followers? No, sometimes you run an advertising campaign. Businesses market their stuff,
Right.
but don't buy followers, just make a good product, and then your tribe will come to you,
Yeah.
right? The people who, like what you're doing will support what you're doing. And so, administering your your social media pages, that could take hours a day,
I'm sure.
fighting all of the intricacies that come with that, and having a web designer and doing all this type of stuff. And then the artwork, like a lot of the artwork, like the artwork on your shirt and
Yeah.
all the stuff that we're releasing little by little, kind of as precursor up to the release of the album. I found a really good artist, and
Yeah.
this guy, he's just killing it, right? And then I've been working with Melody Myers, from Design by Melody, who she manages Generation Kill, and she's, used to do work with Dave Ellison and Combat Records and all these other places. But she's just an amazing sweetheart, and coincidentally, she did the last album artwork, as well as most of the videos that we released from In the Name of God.
Mhm.
So I got nothing but love for her. She's just been amazing the whole time. And but again, aligning yourself with people who can, deliver on their promises and with the quality you want. But you got to be like strict on it. You're like, oh, that's good enough. You're like, no, it's not good enough. I want this, So
Yeah.
I feel like I drive the artist crazy sometimes, because I'm like, well, no, just need change this a little bit, right? But
Yeah.
in any case, so building that brand is like, you want it to represent you and who you are, and you want it to be clear and that sort of thing. So if I ever do get a message from someone saying, I don't like death metal, I was like, bro, you didn't even listen,
Right. Right.
or if they just hear Wish and they go, this song sucks.
Yeah.
The rate of hate I've determined is about 1 in 700 on
Okay.
Wish. Because like, for every 700 people that are like, oh, I love this song, and they share
Right.
it, then there's that one guy who's just like, this sucks, which
How
is
many
funny.
expletives can you use?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or just they don't like how I do the my little spoken word or almost like rap type vocal when I do that, because I try to mix it up. This album
Yeah.
I've got a lot more actual singing, not as good as
Okay.
John Bush, but more like the song Redemption off of In the Name of God, that kind of style. But all of my staples are in there. Um, but yeah, I could talk to you all day, man, and I know we're
No.
we're kind of limited on time. But if
Well,
for anybody who's trying to like do this, like just get serious about what your brand is, don't compromise, and you gotta put in the work. They say, the dream's free, but the hustle sold separately. You're gonna have to invest in it, right? I'm just glad that mine pays for itself at this point. It's
right.
like, because the music, it's like a music habit is almost more, it's more expensive than a drug habit. It's like you got your
Right.
equipment and your software and everything else that goes into it. But
Yeah.
just make sure you want to do it. Get your trademarks, man. Oh my God, I had to fight Michelle Obama and Disney to keep the Becoming trademark at one point.
Really?
Yeah, because Michelle Obama put out her book, and then Disney had a TV show, and I had let the trademark lapse, because I wasn't paying attention, right? So I had to get back in there and get my trademark attorney in there and get it done.
Wow.
So,
What was
but yeah,
what was the Disney show? Just out of curiosity.
it was like a show where like people can turn into their favorite artist or something like that, like
Oh,
a little kind of thing. But yeah, so as far as building out your team, right, that's also something you got to do. So I can't do all this myself. So I have a good trademark attorney. I have a good civil attorney for when you have to smack somebody down with like some whatever it is. And then you got to make sure that I have folks that are running Metal for Life Global doing like the internet stuff. I just don't have the hours in a day to do it all myself
right.
anymore,
And you can't be
and
on your phone while you're trying to do other things, trying to manage all that. So you can't do it. It's no
yeah,
good.
yeah. I still got to do my job and,
Right.
take care of the family and all that sort of stuff. But, I just, like I said, every day I wake up grateful to be alive. I say, I
Totally.
don't, there's a saying, it's like, I don't see what's been done. I see what remains to be done,
Mm.
and so each day I just keep going, charging forward, and there's days you don't want to do it. You
Oh
know, I
yeah,
forget.
yeah,
I love this motivational stuff, and I think it was Mike Tyson. I saw one of his videos. He's like, the key is doing the things you hate like you love them, and that
right,
discipline is what carries you through to make a champion, right?
right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jason, let's talk real quick then. You're gonna be, like you said, hopefully releasing the album in 2024 toward the end of the year. You're California based. We know that. We hear it in your voice. And so
He
so
said, "Dude," like 10 times. He must be from California.
when do you think we might see Becoming hit stage?
That would probably be like a 2025 thing,
Yeah,
and that, obviously predicated with or prefaced with, what's going on in the world at the moment, because you can't turn on the news. You hear things about, oh, more lockdowns are coming, and you're like, oh
right.
man, and now half of California's underwater,
Yes,
and
I know. Yeah.
and then the cost of touring is just insane. Like,
I'll
I
bet.
see all
Yeah.
these bands that are out there, they've been doing this their whole career for 20, 30 years, and they're like, you know what, we're not going to do this, we got to cancel this tour. The
Right.
price of a bus is 8 times what it used to be, and the merch is the venues are taking cuts of the merch, and
Yeah.
did you see what Spotify just did? I
No, what
was
did they
like
do?
so disgusted. They said, okay, unless you one of the top 10% of artists on the platform, you don't get paid. So that's
Oh,
just like a slush fund. You're like, what? I've never been so motivated to try and boycott, some of
yeah.
these digital providers, but again, you got to get a web designer to lock it down on your own. And, if you want to go direct, that's a whole different animal.
Well, let's plug that real quick. If somebody wanted to go direct, somebody wanted to order directly from Becoming the band, where would
Yeah.
they go? And because I know you ship a lot of your stuff personally.
Yeah. All
So
of it.
yeah, there you go. No, because I
Sometimes I
remember
make the kids do it. Hey, go
right,
drop this off at the post office for
exactly.
me.
But I remember, so Jason, where could listeners go to support you and Becoming directly? If they're saying we don't like what you just said about digital
Spotify and yeah.
streamers and stuff like that, we want to go old school and buy an album or a CD, where could they go?
So you could go to MetalForLife.org. That
Mhm.
currently takes you to our Reverb Nation page.
Yep.
You could literally get 5 or so free downloads right there. Just sign up for the email list.
Mhm.
And then, obviously you can send a message directly through Facebook at facebook.com/becoming band. You can send a message directly via Instagram at instagram.com/the band becoming. And we'll take the direct orders and ship them out and so on and so forth. Pretty easy to get in touch with. You just think metalforlife.org. That'll get you to our hubs site. You can
Yeah.
find links to all of our socials and stuff like that. And if you want to get cool becoming merch like Justin is rocking right here, you can go to metalforlife.printify.me, and that's where you can get all this good stuff. We're going to be doing merch drops, on an ongoing basis. Right now, during Christmas time, we're like, let's get this site up and running. So we finally just started all the merch, November, December. I just hadn't had time for it before, but I got
Right.
a lot of people going, hey man, I love the song. Can I buy the CD? Hey, you got any shirts? And so I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I got to get something in place.
Well, no, you gotta do it, but that's how you stay on people's minds, and obviously you're on their mind, so that's fantastic. So
Yeah, the ones I
there's
like the most are the ones that are like, hey dude, that song just really helped me through a shitty time.
that's the
Those
best.
are
That's got to
that.
be the best feeling.
Yeah, because it's like, I like to generally help people. I like to mentor and coach people, even in my day job. It's like,
Yeah.
my job is to kind of enable, empower, uplift people and get them motivated to achieve
Right.
goals and shit. So I think that translated into the music because just who I am as a person.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, everybody can go to metalforlife.org, like Jason said, and we're looking forward to a very eventful 2024 and hopefully 2025 with Becoming. And when that album comes out, we're going to do this again. We're going to do it for Rock on the Rise and
Yeah,
spread the word. Consciousness
absolutely.
revolution.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Justin. Thank you to Shamus as well as Rock on the Rise for always being down and supporting Becoming and stuff. So couldn't be more grateful. Thank you so much.
We love you, buddy.
All right. Talk soon. Thanks, Justin.
Thanks to our good friend Jason Hardouin of Becoming. He's a fantastic musician and an even better human, and that's what MetalForLife.org is all about. Visit MetalForLife.org, find out about the music, sonic revelations, and In the Name of God. You can find those available there, and also these fantastic shirts, which are super comfortable and super cool. I think they're fantastic. You can find Becoming on Instagram at The Band Becoming, and on Facebook at Becoming Band. They've also got a YouTube channel. But of course, for all things Becoming and to learn more about the Consciousness Revolution album that's coming out in 2024, visit MetalForLife.org.